Well, there is a tradition in our home that once a year I make my cranberry scones. The recipe makes 8 scones, and we get to have 2 each. And then when they come out of the oven, they get a dusting of ice and sugar, and they're really delicious. Voila, they're great. On New Year's Day, about 10 years ago, I was in my jammies making the scones. They came out of the oven, got their icing sugar, and then I just stopped in my tracks. I got as clear as a bell, take one to Emily. Like, that didn't come from me. There's no way that could have come from me. The only Emily I know is my neighbor, and of 20 years that I've been feuding with. And some of the things that went on is, like, I remember we built a second fence, a tight fence so her dogs wouldn't see my kids when they're in the yard because they just go crazy. We planted an apple tree outside her kitchen window so she wouldn't be able to watch us in the yard. We planted a row of 40-foot aspens between our yards in the front just so I felt I had more privacy. She couldn't watch us. And I got to tell you, like, whenever a pastor spoke about loving your neighbor, it was always a dagger to my heart. People used to say, "Rose, you're so loving." But I knew there was one person that I couldn't love. So when I got that message a second time, I just put on my boots, put on my coat. I was kind of angry. And I wrapped this thing in tinfoil, a scone, and went up to her front yard and front door. I think that's the first time I'd ever been up to her front door. I knocked, and she opened it a crack. She probably thought I was crazy. And, she said, "Rose, this is New Year's Day. We're going to have a fresh start." And I got to say, from then on, God put a love in my heart for her. She had cancer. She had a lot of mental health issues. I think watching our kids grow up was probably her only connection to the outside world. So I started to see her differently and started cooking and baking extra, bringing her flowers and books and things. I was able to talk to her about my faith. She lived another 4 years, and I'm really grateful that I had that time with her to be her friend. I gotta say, like, God really, He really did something in me that day. Stretched me and changed me. And now He doesn't always speak to me the same way. It's more like a little nudge or a prompt, but He really had to be strong with me that day, and I'm really grateful for that. And I know that task was specific for me. And I've told this at Alpha many times and with our connection groups, so I do apologize if you've heard it before. You say, "Oh, was their scone story." But anyway, I'm very grateful. Thank you, Lord.